In an unexpected and dramatic turn of events, the Dallas Mavericks have made a controversial decision that has sent shockwaves through the NBA. They traded Luka Doncic, a generational talent, despite his immense production and the franchise's aspirations of building a championship contender around him. This move, which may go down in history as one of the most perplexing and poorly executed trades in recent memory, adds an intriguing, if not disturbing, plot twist to the story of the Mavs' relationship with their star player. The book, originally centered around the mounting pressure faced by the franchise as they navigated their first 6 years with Doncic, chronicled the highs and lows of the Mavs' journey with their Slovenian prodigy. From the dysfunctional trade of Kristaps Porzingis, which ended in disaster, to the bungling of the Jalen Brunson situation, the Mavericks front office had been mired in drama. Their subsequent failure to build a competitive roster only amplified concerns about Doncic's future in Dallas. The 2022-2023 season seemed poised to bring more turmoil when the Mavs, after a promising run to the Western Conference Finals, imploded following the ill-fated Kyrie Irving trade. The team was left with no clear direction and a cloud of uncertainty hanging over their star player's future. Fans and analysts alike feared that if the Mavericks couldn't quickly put together a contender, Doncic might look to leave, though it was always understood that he had no clear intentions to force his way out. Still, the threat of him seeking an exit loomed large. But in an unexpected turn, the Mavericks built a contender around Doncic. In a season where he averaged 34 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds, Doncic proved once again that he was one of the best players in the world. However, despite all of this, the franchise made the unthinkable decision to trade him in the middle of the night, just months before he was expected to sign a supermax extension with the team. The timing of the trade added to its shock value, especially considering that the Mavericks had spent years trying to keep Doncic happy, to ensure he would be the cornerstone of the franchise for years to come. Now, with the trade seemingly coming out of nowhere, it left everyone questioning how the Mavs could betray their franchise player in such a cold, calculated manner. While the decision to trade Doncic is certainly unprecedented, the explanation behind it is deeply tied to the internal dynamics of the Mavericks front office. The trade, orchestrated by General Manager Nico Harrison, was a calculated gamble. Harrison managed to convince team owner Mark Cuban and others in the organization that trading Doncic was in the team's best interest, particularly in light of the looming supermax extension. The fear, it seems, was that Doncic's future in Dallas would be tied up in an expensive and potentially detrimental long-term contract, which could limit the team's ability to build around him effectively. The Mavericks executives, led by Harrison, seemed to believe that they could move on from Doncic while he was still in his prime, even though the decision went against everything the franchise had worked for over the past few years. In hindsight, it's clear that this move was not only a misstep but a catastrophic one. The return for Doncic, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick was viewed as a gross underpayment for a player of his caliber. While Davis is undoubtedly a top 75 all-time player, his injury concerns and limited playing time raise questions about his long-term value. Christie, a young player with potential, and a single first-round pick hardly seemed to be enough in return for one of the most talented players the league has seen in decades. By keeping the trade secretive and not fully capitalizing on the bidding war that would have ensued had the trade been made public, the Mavericks failed to maximize their leverage. Furthermore, the financial ramifications of this trade will likely haunt the Mavericks for years to come. With Doncic gone, the team is left scrambling to fill the void, not only in terms of talent, but also in terms of fan engagement. Doncic was the face of the franchise, and without him, ticket sales, merchandise, and TV ratings are expected to take a significant hit. The backlash from the fan base has been swift and intense, with many questioning the leadership of the front office. The Mavs' PR disaster following the trade only compounds the situation, as the team struggles to maintain the trust of its loyal supporters. The move has sucked the hope out of a fan base that once believed the future was bright, and now many are left wondering how the franchise could betray their star player so callously. It is clear that, in hindsight, the decision to trade Doncic was premature. While some in the organization might have believed that his conditioning and off-court concerns were enough to justify moving on, they failed to account for his sheer talent and ability to elevate the team. Doncic, despite his frustrations, remains one of the most dominant players in the league and is more than capable of leading a team to a championship. By trading him, the Mavericks not only alienated their fan base, but also failed to capitalize on what could have been an unprecedented bidding war for his services if the trade had been handled differently. With the Supermax looming, the Mavericks had a unique opportunity to either build a championship contender around Doncic or capitalize on his value in a trade. Instead, they chose a path that has left the future of the franchise uncertain, and the ramifications of this decision will likely be felt for years to come. Ultimately, this trade represents a cautionary tale for other teams in the NBA. The Mavericks, in their quest to avoid the financial implications of a Supermax contract, have made a decision that will go down as one of the most baffling in NBA history. In the process, they've risked their relationship with one of the most talented players the league has ever seen and set their franchise back in a way that could take years to recover from. If there's one thing that's certain, it's that the Mavericks' gamble will be remembered as a pivotal moment in the team's history, one that may have permanently altered the course of their future.